All right, so stretching your hamstrings. Again, even if you've been doing any form of leg day, you've probably used your hamstrings, even if just a little bit. So you want to give them a nice stretch. One of the most common stretches that you're going to see people do at the gym is a forward fold, or people just go and do this. This is not stretching your hamstrings. People think that they are because they're folding forward, but you're not. Why? Because you're rounding your back. And most people, if you don't have the mobility to actually get yourself into that hamstring stretch, you're not doing anything by just like, oh yeah, see, look at, I'm gonna touch my knees with my forehead. You are really not doing anything for your hamstring. So don't even try. I suggest skipping that part and really targeting how you get there. So prop yourself up a little bit into a kneeling position and pick a leg to start with. We're gonna do both. I'm just gonna show you one, but I please encourage you to do both. And the only reason I'm going to pick this leg is because I want you to look at the angle of my hips. It is also very important that you square your hips and that you almost feel tilting or flaring your butt up. Okay? That may mean that this is where you are, you feel a stretch there, and you are golden. That's it. It doesn't matter. But as you do that, as you square your hips should be parallel to the front edge of your mat or wherever you're doing your stretches. You're going to want to start folding forward. And if you look at my back is nice and flat at the lower spine. If you start rounding, I wish you could feel what I'm feeling, but as I round, this releases. I am no longer stretching my hamstring, and this is the hamstring that we're stretching. So really think about reaching back with that tailbone. If you were a scorpion and you wanted to, like, I don't know, sting somebody in front of you, that's what you're going for. And the second thing they're going to pay attention to is your foot. Are you flexing your foot or are you pointing your foot? I highly recommend that you go through the motion of going in a slow back and forth, only because that's going to target the different parts of your hamstrings in a different way, and you're not holding something that's painful either. So even if that means that you're up here and you're going through this motion, you should feel the different parts of your hamstrings tense up at different times, which means that you're stretching them effectively. That's one stretch for your hamstrings. Remember to do both. The other one that I highly recommend for us lifters is your pancake fold, which is like a V-sit, and you're going to start thinking about folding forward. It doesn't matter if you're going for a full middle split. I mean, just go with however flexible you are. If it means this, that's okay too. I like thinking about a 45-degree angle or a 90-degree with my legs. But something that is really important to make note of is where your knees are facing. If they're starting to point inward, it means that your inner hamstrings are really tight, and that's what you're going to focus on. So the first thing I want you to actively engage is your external rotators and your hips to get those knees up to the ceiling and your toes up to the ceiling. Second thing, again, your back. If you're rounding, you're doing nothing. So if you need to put your hands behind you and really lead with your head like you're a puppet, you're being pulled up, and then after that start folding forward. I actually like rolling a little bit side to side because you're going to feel how both legs start stretching and how they start feeling, but always making sure that your back is straight and none of this. If this is happening, that's where you stop. You come back up, and that's it. You move side to side, but think about drawing a big circle forward and just holding it where it feels tight. And wherever you get to, you're like, yep, that's my limit. It will start pulling at the knees, and that is normal, but I want you to stop before it gets painful. If it's painful, it's not a good stretch. It's too much. So stop right before that and hold it there. Breathe about 5-6 times, deep breaths. Every time you exhale, think about reaching a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more in that stretch, so you get yourself more and more into that position. Slowly coming back, set it back, and give it a nice shake after you're done. And that is how you stretch your hamstrings.